Hi, I'm Bob Moncur and you're watching Newcastle Fans TV.
Right, so that was Bobby Moncur, and we're going to be talking about him first of all. In today's video, I'm joined by Fordey. How you doing, Fordey? All right?
Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, a bit devastated by the result on the weekend, but it's one of those things. We move on to the next game. But yeah, let's get into it.
It's coming a weekly theme, this, isn't it? Right, so we're going to be talking about a couple of things. Bobby Moncur, of course, has made the news today. Jermaine Jenas' comments over the weekend, and we're going to preview the Southampton game today. The reason why we're starting that a little bit earlier, because there'll be a break in previews on Wednesday because Sunderland are playing Newcastle in under 23s. More on that tomorrow night. But 40, so Bobby Moncur is off the board. What does that mean for Rafa Benitez? What does that mean for the club?
Well, it was bound to happen, really, because it was something that Mike Ashley put in place, if you remember correctly, when Steve McLaren was at the club. Obviously, he put a four-man board together. That's slowly come apart. Obviously, Steve McLaren, thank God he's gone. Obviously, Lee Charney's still here. But again, it just means that he's off the board and he can concentrate more on the foundation, and he's still a club ambassador and he still has match day duties and all that type of stuff. So it's just it's more of a sign of what Rafa wants, really, because again, is no real need to have him on board there acting as a kind of advisory figure when obviously we all know Rafa knows what he wants. I think the main thing from last summer was Graham Carr coming off the board. So that means obviously that Rafa wholeheartedly has control over the comings and goings of the club. And obviously that really made Bobby Moncur's position defunct, really. Like, you didn't really need to have him on board. So hopefully it's a good sign that Rafa will now be staying at the club for a lot longer than the end of the season, and obviously he can build from there and have his own backroom staff in place.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because this board was set up 3 years ago when, well, not even 3 years ago, it was short on that when Steve McLaren was bizarrely appointed on the board with that, when Bobby Moncur and Graham Carr. We've obviously got Justin Barnes and Keith Bishop, Ashley's PR, so to speak, Lee Charney's go-to guy to Mike Ashley as well. Do you think they've got an influence in that, or is it just one of these, look, we're blowing this up a little bit, it's just Bobby Moncur is more or less a a president, or whatever you want to call it, like he's an ambassador, and he has his match day and he has his Moncur suite. Are we blowing this up a little bit?
Maybe. I mean, to be honest, as I said, like, if there's no real position for him and he's not really needed in that position, then what's the point of having him there, really? As I said, like, the main people were in that four-man team was obviously Lee Charney and Graham Carr. Now, Lee Charney can do what he needs to do, which is obviously help with get the players in. Graham Carr was there to obviously scout the players, but he's not needed now. So, really and truly, what was Bobby Moncur's role in the club, really? Because again, he's an ambassador. At the same time, you know, he's had various successes during his period of time. But again, the younger generation, as you might know, probably won't even know who he is or would have seen him play. So again, if we're going to replace him with a like and like person, it would have to be someone of our generation, someone like Alan Shearer. Obviously, that's probably never going to happen under Mike Ashley. But again, that just makes his position derelict. Like, it's not needed, really, is he?
Yeah, I think we'll have to see what the club come out and say. I know Bobby Moncur's come out in a short statement, very short, and more or less playing it down. So we'll see what Rafa says in his press conference later on this week and see if that news story does blow up. And if it does blow up, check out the social media as well. But I think it's, I can't really say if it's positive or negative, to be fair, because, again, I agree with you, Fordey, how much influence does he actually have on the board at the moment? And he's more football knowledge rather than business, isn't he? But let's move off that. Let's talk about Jermaine Jenas. Now, he has wound up a few Newcastle fans by his comments saying that when he went to go play for England, he felt like he was coming back to a lower level. He felt like a lull, and his career didn't really progress. Now, I've read a couple of somewhere that he only picked up a few more England caps whilst he went to Tottenham. And remember, he was playing Champions League football. You know, we finished 3rd, 4th, 5th, you know, under Bobby Robson, not in that order, and he went to Spurs as a 22-year-old. Do you think that's harsh on these fellow professionals at the club, or can you see a bit of logic in what he's saying?
First of all, I think it was slightly blown out of proportion. I've seen the video like a couple of times now just to kind of digest what he's actually said, because I've seen the various tweets from Newcastle Twitter, and they've all said, you know, the same things that you've just echoed there. You know, we finished, you know, top half positions all the time, 3rd, 4th, 5th, played it with the likes of Solano, Speed, Dyer, Shearer, of course. So again, he was around top class players. The thing that I think he meant, reading between the lines, is that he was playing with England's elite at the time, you know, the likes of Beckham's, Lampard's, Scholes' and stuff like that. and then coming back now to play with players that just not at that level. Obviously, you can out of the Newcastle lot again. Solano's is up there, Shearer's is up there. But then you got to admit some of our defence weren't up to the calibre of some of the England lads. So I think that might be what he meant there. But again, I think it's just taken slightly out of context, jumping out the window slightly just to make out of that he's not appreciative of, you know, his time at Newcastle. Because let's not forget, he was a young lad when he was at Newcastle. You know, he's complains about being in a fishbowl and all the rest of it now, and that's obviously got people's backs up already. So again, anything else he says on top of that, people are always going to be like, you know, about Jermaine Jenas. But yeah,
he was part of that. Obviously, Kieran Dyer was on another channel, shall we say? And he was talking about the Brat Pack, and he was part of one of them. You know, young lad, coming up very shy, very mothered, and then obviously got the ground running, and then started to blossom. You know, and he'd become pals with the likes of Craig Bellamy, Kieran Dyer, and it's not a great image to have when you look back. And obviously, Kieran Dyer's obviously come out and spoke several times across national newspapers and that. I mean, yes, he's playing with the likes of Lampard and Gerrard and Beckham and Scholes, and these are top, right at the top. And then he's coming back to Newcastle. Now, we did have a class side, but they weren't right up there, whether they were like the next batch under, weren't they? The likes of Nobby, you know, you had Lauren Robert coming back to Bellamy, Shearer. I can see one sense, but I think for most of his England caps, he won like 28 or something, and something like 21, 22 of them came whilst he's a Newcastle player. So you've got to remember Bobby Robson plucked him from nowhere and built him. So I think it was harsh on what he said, because he was 22 when he went to Spurs. We did not destroy his England career or his Spurs career, did we?
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, if he's actually trying to hint at we destroyed his England career, if anything, we helped it. You know, he was under the radar before, you know, Bobby Robson picked him up. We picked him up from Nottingham Forest as a young buck, and even still when he left us, he was still quite young. And I think he only went on to make 7 England caps anyway at Tottenham, and so he didn't do much there at all. So for him to actually say that or suggest that, it's absolutely ridiculous. The point I was just trying to get at was that, you know, albeit we had some of our best years and Jenas was there at the time, but at the same time in the England squad, the amount of players he must have been playing around, it must have been immense for him. But at the same time, I think he needs to face facts that he was never going to break into the side ahead of your Lampards, Gerrard and Scholes. So he just wasn't at that level. I mean, not even Kieran Dyer made that many appearances for England at that time. And obviously he was playing around that era as well. And he was having to be pushed out to the left-hand side. So again, if Kieran Dyer wasn't making that many caps
I remember Kieran Dyer being on, remember This Is Football?
Yeah.
He was on the front cover of one of them, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Was struggling as well.
Oh, man. Right. Okay. So let us know what you think. And obviously, Jermaine Jenas as well. Right. We've got a big game, as I said. We'll talk about a little bit on the preview as well. We'll talk about Southampton first, then we'll get on to Toon. Now, Pellegrino, do you think he's under pressure, isn't he? I would probably say he's one of the favourites to get the next sack, do you reckon?
I didn't think they would be in this much trouble, but they really are in it. I'm surprised they've not been sacked just yet, because, you know, everyone pretty much in the bottom half, barring obviously Southampton and the 3 teams that have come up, have not changed their managers.
Yeah.
I would expect Southampton, a big team like Southampton, to change their manager, but hasn't happened so far. And they still got a lot of quality in the side. So I know people saying 4 points out of these 2 games would be good, but I'm saying 6.
Yeah, I think you've got to go. I think you've got to go 6. I think 4 is okay, but I think realistically, coming later on the season, them 2 home wins are massive, because we've got to remember after Southampton, we've got a massive gap without a game. I think it's
we've got the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham to play as well. So it's almost like you're banking those 6 points there, and you're probably thinking, if we get anything out of those 3 games, we're lucky. But if not, then at least we've got those 6 points in the bank.
Yeah, and you've got Leicester away, which might get something from it, but all ifs and buts. For me, I think they're struggling because they haven't got a goal scorer. You know, Charlie Austin's in and out of form. I think the big one, and when he first come in, he looked mint Gabbiadini. He looked brilliant. He was buzzing around. He was spinning off his man, and he's just, I know he scored 2 goals against him. One of them was a penalty, but he just, earlier on the season, but he just doesn't look the same player, does he? If he's scoring goals, Southampton are mid-table for me.
Exactly. I mean, I think I've seen him in the League Cup final. He looked mint in the League Cup final.
Scored, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored as well. And the likes of Redmond as well. They got pace as well. A couple England internationals in the side as well. Obviously, Fraser Forster, old Newcastle boy. I mean, they've actually got a decent side. So it surprises me that they're so low down in the table. And again, it surprises me that they've not switched up yet.
It's really surprising. They've got a great right back as well, Cedric Suarez, who's favoured by a lot of the big teams as well. We've also got Southampton fan channel coming on later on this week as well. Now, we're at home. So do you go out all out attack, or do you go cautious again?
No, all out attack. All out attack. Cautious is getting us nowhere at home, especially at home. Away from home, then yes, I can see what you're talking about. But at home, got to go gung-ho. Got to get 2 or 3 goals early on, because we all seen what's happened if we only get 2 goals. You know, we go to pieces. And I don't think we've got the stamina to keep running around and keep chasing balls down as well. So don't go ultra cautious. Go for it gung-ho and try and score some goals early on.
Now we've seen Shelvey's in training, which is good news. So hopefully he starts. Because I thought Marino was poor, really poor on the weekend. But try not to talk much about the weekend. But you expect him to probably start. Slimani, do you think he'll come off the bench? Do you think he'll start? Do you think he's fit enough?
Well, first of all, that's a surprise that Shelvey's back already, isn't he? After one game.
Just seen it today that he's in training. Yeah, so I've done my research before I come on. Yeah.
After one game, funny enough, he misses the Liverpool game after the Bournemouth game. Oh, right.
Well, you're going to start a conspiracy, you like?
No. Anyway, I'm not starting anything. But yeah, I'd expect Shelvey to come back into the side. Listen,
we missed him.
Yeah, we definitely did miss him. He offers so much more than Diame and Marino together. And in fact, when Diame and Shelvey were playing together in the last couple of games, I thought they looked pretty well. And I was a bit surprised at that, because I was a bit worried that we didn't have a defensive midfield player in between the two of them, but they played all right together. But Slimani up top. Shelvey,
does he start for you, though? Does Slimani start, or does he come off the bench? Because if he starts, he's not going to play the full night, is he?
Depends what Rafa's saying. If Rafa's giving it we're still making late checks and stuff like that, then no. If he's good to go from, I don't know, Wednesday, Thursday onwards, and Rafa's giving it the A-OK, then I've got to just chuck him in and give Southampton a surprise factor, because Southampton probably would have scouted Gale. They would have scouted us in the last couple of games and scouted us on the way we've been playing before, and that's obviously with Gale up top. But if we go with Slimani's not really been playing that much for Leicester. It's not played for us yet. So again, they don't know how we're going to play with him as well. So it might work in our favour.
I think there will be change. I think the back 5 will pick itself. The back 4 and the goalkeeper, I think that's set in stone now. I think that's, as I've said a couple of times, I think that's our defence. And then I think it's guess, because Murphy started out the blue. Richie didn't even play. Shelvey you expect to come in, but then again, he might not be match fit. There's so many changes, and I think Kennedy has gone off the boil a little bit as well, which is the bad timing. We need some players now to step up, don't we? Who's going to be that? Who is going to be that person? Well,
I think Richie was dropped purely because of fitness, because he's been playing pretty much most games as well, and I think he's just feeling it a little bit. So I expect him to come back into it. But really and truly, I think Shelvey, he's had that little dip, obviously, with those 2 goals, which he's been basically hounded out for. So I think he's the one to step up, and Richie's the one to step up as well. And if Slimani starts, he needs to make a good impression. Our other 2 line signings, Kennedy and Dubravka, have made good impressions in their opening couple of games. So I'm hoping it's going to be a hat-trick of performances as well in that respect.
Hopefully, because I think you can target their central defence, because Yoshida and Stevens. Like that one, Fordey? Yoshida. I think we can target those 2. I think they're weak there. And Fraser Forster, I think he's had a poor season as well. I know he'll want to do well coming back to St. James's, but score prediction then, Howard, let's get it off you. We've got to win this, haven't we?
Yeah, we have to win. I'm not taking any sort of draw, anything at all, even if we're coming back from like 2-0 down. So I'm going for like 3-1.
Ooh, that's confident. I was going to say that, but I reckon we'll keep a clean sheet this time. I'm going to go 2-0 Newcastle. So we're feeling both positive there. Then any goal scorers, or are you just giving us a 3-1 then?
I've got to go with Shelvey. I think he's still got to make amends. And then if Slimani starts, he scores. And I don't know, someone just random from the bunch, maybe Lascelles from a corner or something like that. So
Jamal Lascelles. I'm going 2-0. I'm not going to give you the score but I'm going to stick with 2-0. We've got to win it, and you've got to go into this game confidence now. There's none of this, Liverpool made will look poor and all that. Just go in with confidence, lads. Yeah. And we beat Man United at home, so why not as well? Let us know what your thoughts are as well. Fordey, again, thanks for obviously coming on once more.
No worries, mate. Anytime.
Okay, cheers. Thanks for that. And if it is pixelated, I do apologise about that. Cheers for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.